You do not hate people. But sometimes, being around people feels like carrying a bag you never agreed to hold. You smile, you answer, you act normal. But inside, your mind is counting every word, every look, every small change in someone's voice. And when you finally get home, you do not feel lonely. You feel free. Most people do not understand this. They think you prefer being alone because you are cold, rude, or broken. But sometimes you prefer being alone because alone is the only place where your brain stops watching for danger. The first brutal truth is that people may not drain you because you dislike them. They drain you because your brain works too hard around them. Your brain reads faces, studies tone, checks if the room feels safe, and wonders if you said too much or too little. This is social monitoring. It is the brain's way of trying to predict what will happen next. For some people, this system stays quiet. But for you, one simple conversation can stay in your head for hours. You replay what you said. You wonder if they were upset. You think about the moment they went quiet. Your brain is trying to protect you from rejection, shame, or conflict. But protection becomes tiring when it never turns off. This is why being alone feels peaceful. Not because you want an empty life, but because silence asks nothing from you. The second brutal truth is that alone feels safe because alone is predictable. A room does not change its mood. A quiet walk does not ask you to explain why you are quiet. People come with needs, moods, opinions, and hidden expectations. Your brain has to keep guessing, and guessing takes energy. The brain loves patterns because patterns save energy. When life feels too full of noise, solitude becomes a pattern your brain can trust. Your body is not only choosing comfort, it is choosing control. The third brutal truth is that you may not be avoiding people. You may be avoiding performance. Around others, you may feel like you have to become a version of yourself that is easier to accept. You laugh a little more. You explain your silence. You act fine when you are tired. You hide your real thoughts because you do not want to be misunderstood. Over time, this becomes heavy. Every time you edit yourself too much, your brain learns that being real is risky. So being alone starts to feel like the only place where you can stop acting. You can think without explaining. You can exist without being watched. Not because you are lazy, but because your nervous system finally feels unguarded. The fourth brutal truth is that your need for solitude may have been learned. The brain repeats what gives relief. In behavioral psychology, when an action removes stress, the brain remembers it. If you leave a gathering and feel calm, your brain says, "Do that again." If you ignore a message and feel less pressure, your brain says, "Do that again." This is how solitude becomes a habit. Maybe you grew up around people who were hard to read. Maybe you were judged for being sensitive. Maybe your quietness was misunderstood. So now your brain does not always ask, "Is this person safe?" It asks, "Can I survive the emotional cost of being around them?" That question changes everything. The fifth brutal truth is that your brain may confuse closeness with danger. This does not mean you are afraid of love. It means your threat system may turn on when someone gets too close. The amygdala is the part of the brain that helps detect danger. Think of it like a smoke alarm. It does not always know the difference between a real fire and burnt toast. So when someone wants more from you, texts too much, asks personal questions, or expects fast replies, your alarm may start ringing. Your chest feels tight. Your mind looks for an exit. You may suddenly feel annoyed, tired, or numb. But under that reaction, there may be fear. Fear of being trapped. Fear of being needed too much. Fear of losing yourself inside someone else's expectations. Your brain is trying to protect your inner world. But if the alarm rings too often, it can push away the same connection you secretly want. Solitude can heal you, but it can also hide you. The sixth brutal truth is that you may be sensitive to emotional noise. Some people enter a room and hear conversation. You enter a room and feel tension. You notice who is pretending. You notice who is upset. You notice the small shift in energy when someone walks in. This is not magic. It is attention. Some brains process more social and emotional information than others. In personality psychology, people can be more sensitive to stimulation. This can make you thoughtful, but it can also make normal social life feel loud. A crowded room may feel like 10 radios playing at once, and being alone feels like turning the volume down. The seventh brutal truth is that solitude gives you control over your inner world. You choose the pace, the noise, when to speak, and when to stop. For a mind that has spent years feeling overstimulated, control can feel like peace. But peace and control are not always the same thing. Control says, "Nothing can hurt me if nothing reaches me." Peace says, "I can stay myself even when life reaches me." That is where the real change begins. You do not need to force yourself to become social. You need to learn the difference between alone time that restores you and alone time that shrinks your life. Rest feels like coming back to yourself. Avoidance feels like hiding from everything that might touch you. After healthy solitude, you feel clearer. After avoidant solitude, you feel smaller. So before you say yes to people, ask what the real cost is. Is it the person? Is it the length of time? Is it the fear of not having an exit? The brain handles stress better when it can predict it. So instead of saying yes to a whole evening, say, I can come for 1 hour. Now your brain sees a door. And when the brain sees a door, it does not panic as much. Next, choose low-pressure connection. You do not need more people, you need safer people. A safe person does not punish your silence. They do not make you perform. They do not turn your boundaries into a personal insult. When your nervous system meets this kind of person again and again, it learns something new. Connection does not always mean danger. A quiet walk with one calm friend may help you more than a loud dinner with 10 people. Then pause before disappearing. When you feel the urge to cut everyone off, ask, am I tired or am I afraid? This question matters because the brain often hides fear under irritation. If you are tired, rest. If you are afraid, slow down before you run. Take a breath, feel your feet, look around the room. Remind yourself, I can leave if I need to, but I do not have to escape this second. This brings the thinking part of the brain back online. Also, stop measuring connection by how often you talk. A deep bond does not need constant access. It needs safety, honesty, and repair. You may not want daily calls or endless messages, but when you care with your whole mind. Your way can still be real. Protect your solitude without worshiping it. Your alone time helps your brain reset. It gives your nervous system space to breathe. But do not let solitude become the only place you believe you can be safe. The goal is not to need no one. The goal is to stay whole around the right people. Think of your life like a quiet house with a small bridge outside. The house is your solitude. The bridge is connection. It lets the right people come close without breaking the house. You do not need to burn the bridge to protect the house. You only need to choose who is allowed to cross it. Maybe being alone has been your safest language for a long time. Maybe distance helped you survive seasons where being seen did not feel safe. But you are not broken because you need space. You are not cold because noise drains you. You are not strange because your mind feels deeply. You are someone whose brain learned to protect peace very carefully. Now slowly, you can teach it that peace does not have to mean hiding. Peace can also mean being with someone who lets you stay real, someone who does not rush your words, someone who does not make your quiet feel wrong, someone whose presence does not feel like a demand. And when you find even one person like that, your nervous system learns a new truth. You can be alone and safe, but you can also be seen and safe, not to escape people, but to stop losing yourself around them. Because the deepest reason you prefer being alone is not that you hate connection. It is that you are tired of connection that costs you your peace. And one day, the right kind of connection will not feel like noise. It will feel like a quiet room with another person in it.